Ladies and gentlemen, we have been graced by one of Africa's best on this August occasion. This great woman has served her nation and people of Liberia for over 20 years in many capacities, both in the public and private sectors. She was senior senator of Bongo County for over 12 years before assuming the office of vice president with the resounding mandate for the people of Bongo County to represent their interests, hopes, and aspirations as evidenced by her election as senior senator in 2005 and again in 2014. She was First Lady of Liberia from 1997 to 2003, during which period she founded and led the National Humanitarian Task Force to provide food, humanitarian and medical services to the thousands of Liberians who were displaced as a result of the civil war. She also advocated for and championed the creation of the Ministry of Gender, which is today the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Between 1996 and 1997, she served as the Deputy Governor of the National Bank of Liberia, now Central Bank of Liberia, and as President of the Agricultural Cooperative Bank, 1996. She holds a BSc in Economics, Masters in Banking, an MBA in Finance, an LLB in Law, a postgraduate diploma in International Relations, and an honorary doctorate degree in Leadership and Governance. She is a visible and very involved stateswoman with a strong voice for gender equality, advocacy for affordable but quality education, a fair and transparent justice system, the improvement of accessible healthcare systems, improved women's economic and political participation, and an accountable public service system, amongst others. She is one of Liberia's foremost advocates for increased and improved opportunities for women of Liberia and Africa, and is now being called the Jewel of Africa. As an icon, she is a grassrooter and a strong pillar of the Christian community, a believer in women empowerment, multi-democracy, freedom of speech, human rights, and the rule of law. As a result of her more than 20 years of experience in both the private and public sectors, she, unlike most politicians of today, has the privilege to be able to cut across political, social, and ethnic lines, and has friends and collaborators in all political establishments in Liberia. She remains a strong voice for change and progress in our nation, and an icon for Liberian women. With a round of applause, a resounding round of applause, please welcome Her Excellency Chief Dr. Jewel Taylor, Vice President of Liberia and President of the Senate of Liberia. Thank you.
I'll start by saying a very, very happy birthday to Dr. Nina for the most amazing speech of inspiration that I've heard in a long time. As she turns 80 years old, may the work that she has done be an inspiration for all of us on and off this platform to build a better world. Dr. Onyari, Chair of the Board, Dr. Samuel Jacobs-Abbey, Executive Director, and the ELSM family, all of the ELSM partners, the Alumni Association, the valedictorians and members of the 2022 graduating class, special guests that are online, our family members, sponsors, well-wishers, and friends, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm grateful to the Almighty God this afternoon, firstly for the precious gift of life, and for this special opportunity to be able to interface with you this morning. This is more poignant as I consider the fact that because of the digital advancement in the world today, I am able to be in two places at the same time. I'm here at home in Liberia and am able to speak to the august body of ESLM, members of the graduating class, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Please accept my profound gratitude for your invitation to be the 2022 commencement speaker today. I am truly humbled and pray that my participation in these ceremonies and the words I will speak this afternoon will not only leave a small impact on the lives of the members of the graduating class and on the Jacobs-Abbey Global Institute, but will become beacons of light to help guide our paths as all of us work towards creating a world that we want to see. Permit me at this time to extend my congratulations to the 54 successful candidates from 40 countries across 4 continents who are graduating from this prestigious institute with masterclass certificates in executive strategic leadership. As a transcontinental leader myself, who has continued to learn, I know it's a strategy for successful and impactful life. I can only imagine the hours spent over the last 10 weeks to be able to get where you are today and graduate from this amazing program. Howbeit, in spite of the difficulties, you are now proud products of a stellar collaboration which brings together some of the best institutes of learning across the world. These institutions include the Jacobs-Abbey Global Institute for Leadership Studies, the Academy of African Scholars for Social Change, the Center for Peace Studies, the International Commission of Diplomacy and Global Affairs, and the Peace Society of Kenya. You must be proud, for you are indeed a chosen generation. For to have been part of this synergy at this critical point in our nation's history is a rare blessing indeed, as normally one would probably have to go to one institute and complete it and go to another institute. You've had an opportunity to have all of the collaboration done in one space. I can proudly state that upon reading the premise on which the Jacobs-Abbey Global Institute was built, I agree that it hits the nail on the head. And it talks about the kinds of leaders we need. We are in desperate need of strategic leaders. The words from this prospectus, and I want to quote this morning so we all remember what it is if we want to change the world, we must first change our thinking, end quote. Permit me to kindly add, especially if leaders desire to accelerate their impact for transformation in the new global space that we all live in. It is therefore a pleasing duty for me to extend my heartfelt congratulations to both the consortium of premier institutions in this collaboration and the members of the 2022 graduating class. And I must be prejudiced and say, especially to the Liberians that are graduating, congratulations, you've made me so proud this afternoon. Excellencies, special guests, officials of ELSM, and members of the graduating class, the theme for this year's graduation is Leading with Intent and Diligence, an apt theme for today's global world amidst the myriad of challenges and opportunities we all face. Before I begin my short commencement speech, permit me to state for the record that the process of mind transformation, which each of you have undergone during this period of study, has already provided you with the tools needed for the next phase of your life's journey. Congratulations. Let me add just a few words that will be a recap of what you've already done over the past 10 weeks as we look at the theme, Leading with Intent and Diligence. I want to sum it up in 3 categories. I hope you will agree with me. The value of strategic leadership, the impact of strategic leadership, and the benefits of strategic leadership. Permit me to quote a phrase taken from the first inaugural address of former American President Barack Obama, delivered on January 20, 2009, which I believe still paints a picture of the current times that we find ourselves. And I quote, that we are in the midst of crisis is now well understood. Our nation is at war against a far-reaching network of violence and hatred. Our economy badly weakened, a consequence of greed and irresponsibility on the part of some, but also our collective failure to make the hard choices and prepare our children and the nation for the new age. Homes have been lost, jobs shed, business shattered, healthcare too costly, and our schools, most importantly, fail to prepare our young people for the future. And he ended his quote by saying, "Each day that we live brings further evidence that the ways we use energy strengthen our adversaries and threaten our planet," end quote. I'm of the opinion that the context of these words ring even truer today. For our global world is indeed in deeper crisis, and there are rumors of wars and wars in many quarters. The network of violence and hatred has spread from now north to south to east and to west. And in today's world, sexual and gender-based violence is alarming. Human trafficking and slavery abound all around us. Sadly, it seems as if those who operate these networks are too powerful or too connected, thus living above the laws, and the instances continue to rise. I believe you agree with me that the world's economic system is shattered from choices made and opportunities lost. Many are homeless, even in previously thought safe havens of our world. Joblessness has become the norm of the day. Healthcare systems are stretched beyond the limit, and inequalities and marginalization of the most vulnerable in our societies, especially women and girls, are on the rise. Sadly, most of our school systems are no longer the cradles of innovation, of knowledge, of value systems and excellence. Hence, they have now produced leaders which are increasingly incapable of making the strategic decisions necessary to build a more peaceful and inclusive world. They now operate in spheres which threaten the very existence of mankind. As stated by former President Barack Obama many, many years ago, where we are today is a consequence of greed and irresponsibility on the part of some, but also our collective failure to make the hard choices and prepare our children and our nations for the new age. I hope you will agree with me that this synopsis paints the picture of our world today. It is therefore without a shadow of doubt that I can say that the world needs a new breed of strategic leaders, those who are capable, who have the political willpower to lead with intent and diligence, and who carry the uncommon fire as our forefathers of old to build a better world for us. This vision was simply stated by the Borgen Project, which summed up the Nelson Mandela's quote of leadership by saying the following, which I believe is important as you graduate today. To be a great leader, one must never give up. Continue to try to bring people together and be selfless, as Dr. Nina just said. For leadership is about working with and for others to achieve a common goal that benefits everyone and not just a few. Kindly permit me to briefly summarize the value, impact, and benefits of strategic leadership that the world so urgently needs today. Simply put, the value of strategic leadership is to bring together and lead a team which ensures the integration, creativity, and innovation necessary to drive a collective vision for long-term success. The impact of strategic leadership is the security of building a firm foundation or an organization which produces the ultimate results expected by all. Some of the benefits of strategic leadership include unity. the reduction in conflict and crisis, increased cooperation and team spirit, inclusion, no matter who you are or where you are at a point in time, motivation, accountability, good governance, high achievement, success, increased benefit for all. And let me reiterate all, because it is about all. Strategic leadership builds trust, allows a system or governance process to be adaptable to the changes in time. It endures and it is sustainable. And we could go on and on and on. But I believe this is the crux of the lessons you have taken over the past 10 weeks. In closing, the crux of the matter is that leaders needed for today's world require a new mindset. This was clearly reiterated in the 2020 Harvard Business Review, which indicated that mindsets are leaders' mental lenses with which they take in information, process it, determine how that information is used, how decisions are made, and what drives them. Simply put, mindsets drive the decisions and actions of all good leaders. This review expanded the discussion to include the different kinds of mindset, stating that the most strategic leaders have a growth mindset, a learning mindset, a deliberative mindset, and a promotion mindset. As such, each of them will be able to see, interpret, and make the proper decisions for successful implementation of plans and vision for the collective good. Permit me to end this address with a famous story, which I'm sure some of you have heard, about the eagle who thought it was a chicken. A hunter went out to hunt and saw a baby eagle and brought it home and put it in a coop with chickens. Can you imagine the greatness of an eagle being put in a chicken coop? But that baby eagle saw only chickens. And so over time, it took on the traits of a chicken, even though it was an eagle. We're talking about mindset. This hunter eventually felt so sad that he had captured the greatest bird in the world and subjected it to the life of a chicken. And he decided that he would begin to find a way to let it go back into the wild. He tried many times and took it in the forest on the high elevations, but every time he would release the eagle, it would just flutter back down and begin its life as a chicken. But what changed the mindset of that eagle? One day, as the hunter tried in his exasperation to allow this eagle to take on the attributes of an eagle for which it was, an eagle passed by. And the sound of that eagle ignited something great in that baby eagle. And it looked up and saw something that resembled itself, moving and gliding in the skies with all of the beauty and intellect that the eagle carries. A few days later, the hunter took that baby eaglet on top of the mountain and threw it in the air, hoping it would fly. He had to do that a few times to change that mindset. Finally, the hunter took the eaglet up on top of a high mountain, and the mindset of that eagle was transformed. Upon being pushed into the wind, it began to glide on the wind, assume all of the properties that were inside, and begin to spread its wings and fly. By that one interaction of seeing the adult eagle and hearing it, ignited a fire that allowed it to change its mindset. I believe this is what the Jacobs-Abbey Global Institute is trying to do to the young leaders of our day. That we've lived as chickens, even though we are eagles. But in order for us to take on the aspects and the attributes of an eagle, something has to shift. And that mindset shift has to take place. Over the last 10 weeks, I'm sure the graduates have learned so many amazing things. They are now no longer the same as they were when they entered the Institute. They have now been given all of what they need to be the true eagles of the new generation we hope to see. As we look at the life of the eagle, and I will just speak a few of the attributes which I believe each person graduating today and those who've graduated before must exhibit if we want to create the world that we need. The traits of an eagle are, they are visionary and have a far sight. The eagles are not concerned about what's happening in the moment. In order for it to pick its food, and they have to be live, the eagle will look in the depths of the river, fly and calculate the mileage. And when it gets to the point where that fish or whatever it is that it wants to catch is at that exact point in time, it scoops low, exactly picking it up and taking it away. Those who graduate from the Jacobs-Abbey Global Institute and those who are leaders extraordinary must have a far sight. Their vision must be on the future and not on the present. A second attribute that I believe is important is that the eagle cultivates a stable relationship. They are monogamous creatures. They find their mates and they stay together for life. The female eagle will never settle for any male eagle that is irresponsible. Once in a relationship, they build each other, they build their lives, they create the new generation. Each of you must cultivate the stable relationships that Dr. Rena just talked about amongst yourselves, amongst others that have graduated, so that a synergy can begin to create the leadership strata that we need across every nation of our one world. Another attribute of the eagle is that they associate with only the best. An eagle would prefer to fly alone and at the highest altitude than to keep the wrong company. You don't see eagles hanging with hawks or with vultures or with ravens or with beautiful birds. They associate with themselves and they pick the best amongst themselves. Those who have the passion and the commitment and the stamina to fly above the storm. The last but not the least is that they keep a current focus. What is happening? How can they transmit what is going on to create an environment for their future? They never eat dead meat. An eagle must eat fresh meat. And so as new leaders, you must always have fresh revelation. And as a Christian, I know that the fresh revelation comes from only one source, that it is in an enabling book of life, which I believe the Bible is, that will continue to give you the fresh revelation to be the leaders that we need so desperately. Eagles build their homes at the highest point of the mountain, where no one can destroy it. Very rarely can other animals or snakes get to where the eagles build their nests. So as we build the new world, we must ensure that they are so secured that nothing, time or space or incidents will create an environment where they are destroyed. In closing, let me say that these are the traits that I believe all of the graduates of the Jacobs-Abbey Global Institute have learned. I pray that you will go out, light your world by your brilliance, your commitment, and help us create this new world that all of us hope, not just for ourselves, but for our children and for posterity. Excellencies, special guests, officials of ELSM, members of the graduating class, of which includes Liberians, and of course, other countries across our region, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today has indeed been a humbling duty for me. And I'm so proud to have been given such a unique opportunity. I do not count it as regular, and I know that it is a privilege indeed. I am greatly honored. Thank you so very much. God bless each of you as you begin this new and amazing journey. I thank you.